Gotta use my cheapy ass video editing skills taught to me by my school fucking teachers. I wish we could bring Steve Jobs back from death. That way I wouldn't have to stare at the fucking Bluetooth button as it turns back on automatically by itself when I purposely chose to turn it off. Let's go to AdTube. That's what we should call it now. So Google, yeah, why don't you change the name of YouTube now to AdTube? It sounds better that way. Yeah, I get it. You have to pay for a subscription if you don't want ads. How else would they sustain their fucking servers? If you don't have the resources to put educational and good content together, then you shouldn't put content at all. And that's why we got so many cat videos on YouTube. AdTube. Let me rephrase that. It would be YouTube if you had the ad not interrupting. Now they just fucking interrupt the shit out of everything. Like educational content, fuck you. You're learning, fuck you. You're watching cat videos, also fuck you. You could literally educate yourself in other fucking places. Don't go there for education because you're gonna get distracted. That's what they're doing best right now. They're a distraction company. Yeah, man, I don't know what the fuck is giving into these fucking companies. Look at Mark Suck My Dick Berg. If this was an episode of Cinema Sins, Death Row Cinema Sin. Ad book, you know, just change the name, dude. Ad book. Ad book. You have paid ads, Google ads, video ads, fucking stripper ads, all sorts of fucking targeted ads. Oh my god, it's so nasty. Don't even bother trying to read the fucking privacy section. It's so fucking messed up too. They don't want you to read that. First off, good luck finding it because they have hidden that shit somewhere else in their fucking settings now. But it's always been easier to accidentally send a nude than to search for your privacy settings. Everything is about selling now. If they can't sell it to you, they don't want to make it. They don't want you to have it. They don't find interest on it. And I get it, you know, people aren't willing to do anything for free. If you don't get paid for it, you're not willing to do shit. That's mostly the problem with everybody. That nobody wants to do shit. It's not that they can't do shit, it's that they don't want to do shit. And that's why the world is so fucked up too. You don't want to do shit. You just don't want to do shit. Not for free. You don't want to help anybody for free. You know, I don't want to spend none of your time for free. Bottom line, what the fuck, man? Everybody wants to be rich, right? This fucking fucked up piece of shit you call a fucked up planet, because it's not a planet, now it's a fucked up planet. Apparently, it seems like climate catastrophes are going to be the next pandemic that strikes the planet. And it's so funny to me, like how the fucking CEOs of how Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, they're just sitting with important people and discussing these things. Like, what the fuck? Why are you discussing this in the first place? Do you sell products online after you become so rich selling books? You started selling everything now, and the other guy, he makes computers, and the other guy makes cars. What the fuck, man? Why are you talking about climate? I'm not gonna lie, money does buy you a good amount of intellect. So yeah, you could become intellectual with money, but it still doesn't make you smart. The fuck they talking about climate for? To me, is an orchestrated thing. They're just gathering together and asking themselves, how many millions can we contribute to the next catastrophe that is gonna let us lead the world? That's what's happening to me, you know. But it's just no conspiracy theory here. It's just a hypothesis based on what the world looks like. Everybody wants to be fucking rich, right? If you're not watching videos on YouTube on how to become richer, it's because you already are, or you just don't give a fuck. You know, you're one of those 3 persons, and if you just don't give a fuck, then you're fucked, dude. You're fucked anyway, but you're fucked. If you just don't give a fuck and wasting your time watching cat videos. What happens to those who give a fuck and want to become rich? Like me, what the fuck you want to be rich for, man? You're not gonna make the world a better place, right? Yeah, that's a good question, man. What the fuck would you do with your millions? Let's say that today, Saturday 20 of 2021, I play the fucking Lotto and I win it. I win 30 million, 10 million, 5 millions. Look at this shit with 5 millions. Let's say I only won 5 millions, which is hard to believe considering the fact that if you do happen to be one of the lucky ones to win the Powerball or the Mega Millions, you're gonna be winning millions. Let's say you're only lucky enough to win 5 millions, which is a little shy, you know, considering the fact that there's a lot of money there. Especially me, myself, I played that shit like 10,000 times. Times $2, like $20,000. I've wasted like $20,000 that somebody has won. I haven't spent that much money on the Powerball, but yeah, you get the fucking point. What the fuck, man? What do you want your millions for? You want it for your family, open businesses, so you can kick back and relax and enjoy life. That's what you want your millions for, right? I don't share the same interests as you people, see? Like, I'm laying back, being all chill and trying not to do too much right now, because I know that I am coming up with some cool ass shit. Whether I make them or not, they're gonna happen, and I'm probably gonna be predicting some of those shits. But nevertheless, if I became rich out of the sun, what would I use my money for? What would be the first thing I would do with my money, with my $5 million? I would go ahead and buy myself a little house, not too big, maybe with a nice big patio so that I can work in, and an entrance so that I can put my projects in and out. Close to an airport. I'll tell you why. After I buy my $250,000 fucking house, houses are fucking pretty expensive. In Miami, where I wanted at, back in the Redlands, I'm not gonna find a good house for less than $450,000. So that's a lot of fucking money, man, for a fucking house that a hurricane is gonna fuck over someday in your lifetime. But it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. It's all a part of the market, right? One day the price is gonna go down. It's not that day. Now they're expensive as fuck. So yeah, $450,000 for a good top of the line house. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a shy little house so that I can have money for my project. What would be my first legit investment? Because a house is not an investment. It depends on what you do with the house and how you come to the approach. My approach to the house is just to live in it and build my projects there. So now that I'm talking about my projects, what would be the first multi-million-dollar project that I would throw maybe 2.5 of those 5 million into? Self-flying, autonomously flying airborne vehicles. So I'm talking about a plane that could vertically take off from your house and land on your job. Not too big, so that it doesn't consume that much space, possibly with just the capabilities of holding you and a little bit of cargo. It will be a one-man setup. That will be like the one that could take off from your backyard or your porch and land in your job, and with 3-man to 4-man not too big, maybe like a mid-sized bus, one of those funny looking buses. I want to call it more like an airborne vehicle, something that could just take off from your house, land wherever you need to go. Why do I want to make such a stupid shit? And isn't this shit made already? Aren't rich people working? I don't give a fuck. Well, I will make it perfect, because I was working far from fucking home once and I wanted to get there quick. It ended up causing me more problems than I wanted. A 28-minute drive easily became an hour or a 45-minute drive, depending on traffic and on the amount of stupid people that wanted to crash, because they're stupid people. One day I was just speeding through traffic because I was late for work, and I look behind and there's this white stupid motherfucker car fucking speeding right behind me. Nigga, why you just fucking racing me, right? I'm late for work, but you just fucking racing me. That stupid motherfucker crashed into the side. He fucked up his mirror. He ate a cone and he possibly almost didn't fucking make it to work. And he was going to exit in the next exit too. So that motherfucker just crashed his car for being stupid and wanting to race me. So I tell you, man, don't be stupid. Don't try to race people on the freeway. Don't be like me. I don't do that anymore. Just don't do it. Some people are stupid, dude, and that's what happened to stupid people. Something happened to me for being stupid once. Some idiot pulled a gun on me, dude. I was just speeding, and that nigga was speeding too. He was going faster than me. He spun right by me, and I was like, what? This is my chance. I was following the guy. If that would have been me, I would have been like, what the fuck you following me, dude? So yeah, I get the point. He pulled up to my side, he pulled a gun to me. I was like, fuck, shit got real, man. I hit on those brakes. I had to break it off because I didn't have a gun. No, because, you know, he pulled a gun on me. Yeah, dude, don't be stupid. That kind of stupid behavior made me understand that you don't need to be speeding on the freeway. And if somebody speeds right behind you, let them fucking be. God knows why they're speeding. There's possibly a parade of cops behind him. You don't want to get involved. Ding, that's another sin. A sin. Bing, 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 bing. That airborne vehicle would eliminate that problem. I would just autonomously let it drive me to work. I could work from Miami, work in Tampa, working in all the way up in Jacksonville, working in Orlando. You know, the opportunities that this type of vehicles would open to the public, to normal people, will be huge. And maybe that's purposely why you don't have it yet, because they don't want you to have this ease of transportation, this ease of getting from one place to another to make more money. Another thing that I would start throwing money into, I would desperately throw money into, and that would be energy resources. Hell yeah. I would also work in electric cars, but not the way you think. But I don't want to disclose how I want to do that. I will spend possibly what will be the rest of my millions. I just spent 1.5 million to $2 million developing that fucking machine myself, because I would not hire one goddamn engineer to do anything. If I cannot do it myself and make it safe enough for myself, then nobody can. It might take 10 years. I'm smart enough. I'll figure it out. What energy technology? What you talking about, dude? Slow down. You're going too fast. What are you talking about? As it turns out, I am not comfortable living next to a nuclear power plant. I don't like it. I do not like the fact that nuclear power plant exists. You know what happened in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Chernobyl? I don't know what other fucking Japanese country not too long ago. That is a big sign to back the fuck off those designs. They don't back off from it for a reason. Literally, you have a bomb at your disposal. Let's say fucking one country invades another country and they take over from this side down. Oh, look, we got a nuclear power plant. Shut it down. Book. That's it. And they can do it to civilians too. Oh, the population is just growing too much. Crime, everything is to the tops. Kill them. Get eliminated. That's my theory, what the power plant exists for. Oh my goodness. Fan power airplane. That sounds like fun. Anyway, do I want to? What am I throwing money into? I just spent $1.5 million on this little plane that takes off, from the backyard. It's a one-man vehicle, and it's super amazing. So what is the next technology? I got like a good 3 millions left. I just spent 250 grand in a house, probably deviated another 800 or $700,000 to food and home resources. Now what am I spending 3 millions on? First, we will have to dig into the planet, and we're gonna create special artificial heating reservoirs as deeper as we can, so that we can boil the water, the fucking pure water. So we're not using radioactive isotopes to boil water. We're just using the heat generated from the earth that is going to continue for millions and billions of years, so thousands of years. So we're gonna use that heat to boil that water inside the reservoir. We're gonna get it to steam up, and we're gonna steam up the turbines. Speed the turbines. That is essentially how every fucking turbine power plant facility on the planet works, bitches. If you don't know it, Google it. That's another saying. Bing, 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 bing. So yes, we're gonna generate the steam. We're gonna power the turbines. We're gonna cool the water back down to a watery temperature. We're gonna pump it right back into that tank to cycle it back again. So that will be my next epic technology. So yeah, you do have to pay for energy, man, but it could be clean energy. It doesn't have to be radioactive energy. Ugh, this is disgusting. I don't know. Keep that away from me. I don't want no radioactive plants close for me. How the fuck would you support a company that has 10,000 employees and you need to fucking have them all there in order to run those fucking generators, to check on the turbines if a fucking pipe breaks? So you need money to pay for all of that, right? That's what the fucking companies, they don't want to tell you. They don't want to be blunt. They throw the shit at you and they say, oh, I'm sorry, I threw the shit, I'm sorry. Now niggas say, hey, look, I threw the shit at you because of this. What you gonna do about it? That's how they gotta approach you. And that's how I approach people. That's why people don't like me. So yeah, you gotta pay, man. Like, how you gonna run a company if you don't pay for it? Plus, it's energy. It's gonna be possibly one of the biggest breakthroughs. But after that happens, let's say I am successful. Let's say what I'm talking about does fucking work, and it is true, and I'm not just a lunatic talking to his phone or his room alone with nobody beside him, and that generates me money. What would you do with that amount of money, with the revenue? Because now you're gonna be outpowering how many facilities cleaner. You're gonna be outpowering cleaner, because you see how big we can build up. Imagine how big we can build down, humongous places, humongous power plants deep into the earth we're gonna have. And those are gonna be what they're gonna end up powering the planet. Maybe not for too long, because it's gonna go down to shit anyway. What will be the next technology I'll put money into? Well, it's kind of a procedure, it's not a technology. Like almost everything in this video is gonna be a procedure. Everything is a procedure. You go from one point to another, you just don't appear at such point, right? And then when you get to those points, sometimes you forget that you were down there and you're just a dick and an asshole and you don't want to help. And that's when you start having conversations with powerful people just to figure out how you're gonna fuck everybody up, because you just have so much money that everybody wants to fuck you. Beautiful. And now I will be throwing money into a new technology. more or less new technology, more or less, because Elon Mosquito is saying ping, that would be like Eloni Mosquito. Well, that motherfucker is already working on some sense what I call the future technology of humanity, and that would be what I would throw money next on. And no, it's not going to Mars. Going to Mars is whatever. The technology is neurological sensors. The neural sensor, or what I believe it's going to be called a neural sensor, because the way that I want that part to be used has not been described by any procedure yet. But I'm going to explain to you what this technology is, how it's being currently used, and how do I believe it's going to develop. Let's say flying vehicle company, I'm able to change the planet and get everybody to buy one and replace it for their fucking car because it's way better. Yeah, don't say people are going to be falling off the sky. Yes, I know. Listen, I'd rather have people falling out of the sky than having motherfuckers running and chasing around me, because people are racing all the time. You know how many times I just swerve by people? I could crash into somebody. You know how many times that has happened to me? A million times also. So cars are just as unsafe, if not more unsafe. Because if you can automatically fly, set your autopilot to automatically land and not land. Listen, drones already do it. So yeah, believe me, I will develop that vehicle in such a way that you don't have to do nothing but to sit on it and watch it go. And if something goes wrong, just take over the controls. That's it. That's what it's gonna be the future. Like, it's gonna look like that, whether I make it or not. Somebody's gonna make this shit. And to you I say props, you owe me money, fucker. Saying ding 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 ding. And now Elon Musk is working on a new technology, and they call it Neuralink, but I call it the very early stages of the neural sensor. And this neural sensor is basic. It's designed to read the brain. Technically, that's what it does. It cannot write data into the brain or write input into the brain like your muscles do, like your skin does when you touch it like this, you know. And essentially because you're only reading the electrical impulses that come off the chemical reaction that your skin and your spinal cord tissue goes between, you know. So in order for your skin to tell your brain that you're being touched, it's gotta release the chemical. So when you touch a specific part or a specific cell, that cell releases a chemical into the neurological web. It interacts and there's a small electrical discharge due to the chemical reaction. Beautiful. Your brain detects this through the spinal cord, and you have your spinal web goes all the way up to your fingers, dude. It's very vast. It's a huge organ that I believe is the brain. It's part of the brain. It's integrated with the brain, and it's the brain. It's literally your consciousness. If you could define consciousness as a physical thing, I would say it is the brain and the spinal cord. That is conscious. So they're using this Neuralink technology to read data from the pig's brain. Beautiful. They have been able to record it. Amazing. Not so amazing. You engineers are just fucking fuckfaces, fucking with technology that already has been there before. You know, back in the 70s, the 60s, I don't know what year, cut off a monkey's head and they put it with another monkey. They cut out a fucking dog's head and they kept it alive in another dog's body. So you're not fucking with Newton. And while they were doing that, they had the basic Neuralink sensor connected to the brain, just reading that data. That's all your sensor does, read the data. You can write to the brain. And the reason why is simple, two things. One, the neural sensor is not giving input into the brain. It's not giving a chemical reaction to the brain. So in order for that to happen, you need to attach the neural sensor to the endings of the spinal cord, literally the web that feels, the web that interacts with your muscles and your skin and your organs. You have to attach it to those nerve endings and introduce chemical input. So you have to have some sort of a special Neuralink that releases a chemical compound. That's what you need in order for the brain to communicate with the machine. So that will be the next thing that I would throw money into. I would throw money into that technology. I will approach it in a different way. I won't just dig up a whole bunch of plants and go through them and try to replicate them. I would just scrap them and create something completely new. You have to understand that a pig is not a person. You know, a person can tell you, oh, I feel pain, or I feel a little tickling, or I don't feel nothing. The pig cannot do that. It can only stretch his leg and then feed you on 31st of December. Ding, 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 sin. You look at the sin count on this video, man. So, yeah, Elon, beautiful technology, my friend, but you're approaching it wrong. You gotta start cutting people open, you know. What? I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You have to consent with people, have volunteers, so that they can take a procedure of extracting their brains and their spinal cords from their body and then attach it to these newly designed neurological sensors that I want to make them. I don't know if you don't want to make them, but the ones you're using right now and putting inside the brains, that's not the right way to do it. That is, let's say you have a hard drive that is like clicking on the option that says read only. You know, you have all this fucking hardware and all this shit you can do with it, and you're read only. Nah, man, you have to have administrative privileges on this bitch. You know, it's the human brain. How do you achieve that? With the chemical composition. Remember, the electrical that you can sense out of a body, it's a byproduct of the chemical reactions going on it. You understand? When you reach out your hand to reach for something, it's not an electrical input that the brain is giving. No, it's a chemical interaction between the spinal cord and those muscles that the spinal cord is activating to pull and to do the job. So technically speaking, every muscle in the body just pulls. So you're in a pulling state. You're always pulling, and all you need is a chemical discharge to interact with another chemical to cause that shit to pull. Who is in charge of that? Your brain and your spinal cord. So there's no electric shit going on. The electric shit is just a byproduct of the chemical shit that is going on. Bam! Mind blown, bitches. Fuck you. I know more about all this shit than anybody. You bitches gonna call me a genius by the end of this video. So that will be the next technology I would throw money into, assuming that I am successful and I haven't died yet, because it would take a good 50 years or 40 years before any of this could become promising technologies, because it's all about selling it to people. If you cannot sell something to somebody and make money off of it, nobody's interested in funding you. Nobody gives a shit about what you gotta say if you're just trying to be a good human being. Nah, they wanna see what you got, how they can resell it to make money off of your shit. It's the truth. I have a lot of money planning to be made. I don't give a fuck who invests on that shit. I don't give a fuck if it has to be me only. But I'm throwing money on this shit, no matter what. The neurosensor will be like the most promising future technology that humans will have. And by the looks of it right now, Elon Musk is working on it and they're gonna succeed. Maybe other companies are working on it, or maybe somebody has it already. Who knows, man? Like, unless you're a billionaire, you will never know, because you cannot afford it. So why would somebody try to sell it to you? See where I'm going from? Like, some things you might not even know of just because you have no access to them. You understand? It doesn't mean that they don't exist. It doesn't mean that what I'm talking about doesn't exist. It probably does already. And my prediction or imaginations are certain realities that I just have no access to because I don't have that kind of capital to afford them. Unless you can afford a jet, you will never know what a jet looks like inside. No matter how many YouTube videos Google, you will not be able to tangibly tell the difference between a cheaper and a more expensive jet. You will only be able to tell by eyesight or by word of mouth. That leads me to my next technology. Let's say that we have successfully created a neurosensor that can attach to the nerve endings, and we have somehow successfully mastered the technique of extracting the human brain and the spinal cord out of the body, because keeping the brain alive outside of a body is not a big issue. You know, you can overcome all the scientific problems that could create. You can overcome them. The biggest challenge once this has happened is how to communicate with the brain, how the brain is going to communicate with the outside world, and hopefully the neurosensor solves that problem for humanity. After that has been achieved, we can sell a product. It sounds sad, but it is what it is. I believe this technology is gonna give you the ability to live 50, 80, 100 years more after your body has stopped completely working. Let's say you have cancer that doesn't affect your nervous system but is killing you, or you have another disease that is killing you, but your nervous system and your brain is intact, and you can take the procedure, man, and be free of the curse that you have, which is death because of your body. eventually your brain will give up, and you will probably start to wander into the oblivion before it's even dead. But at least you get to meet more of your generations, and maybe you could do what you couldn't do in 100 years or 80 years. Now you were able to achieve it in 120, 150 years more, 150 years. So that is technically why I believe it's necessary to implement in this technology, the neural sensor technology, to even create it, because it could open up a window for humanity. So after, let's say that has successfully happened, and we have millionaires on the planet paying for this technology because they want to extend their lives 50 years more after they have been dead, 150 years more after they've been supposed to be dead. Doesn't matter if it's inside a robot or if it's inside a machine. They want to see how their kids grow, and they want to see the future generations, and maybe take decisions on their companies, after they were supposed to be dead, so that would be beneficial. I bet that if Steve Jobs was alive, or if he is, I don't know, I bet that if he was, that stupid shit that they did with the mission control Wi-Fi button and all those buttons that you press them once to turn them on, and then you press them back to turn them off, but they never shut off. They're in like this resting state, waiting for some stimulus to come back on. Fuck you! When did a switch become not a switch? Ding, 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 ding. That is a fucking sin. Whoever came up with this should be fired from Apple, because that's just plain simple stupid. I don't see the benefit of that other than to drain your fucking battery. Alright? That's what you made it for, to drain people's battery. Fuck you, okay? Yeah, I don't even know when that shit's on, man. I click it on, I click it off like I'm used to, and it doesn't come off. I don't even know if this new update they released fixed it. I don't even want to update the phone. It has more problems when you update it. I'm pretty sure Steve Jobs would have used his higher reasoning skills to say, no, fire that fucker, man. If he thinks that button should be turned into something else than a button, I'm pretty sure he would have been annoyed if it's not. Because that's annoying. You see what I'm getting from? After that, Steve Jobs would have bought this technology, and I would have a couple of his millions on my pocket. I would have then said, now I want to invest in something crazier. Now I want to move the planet out of its orbit. And they say, what the fuck? What are you talking about, dude? No, don't do that. You crazy? I live in the planet too. If you're crazy and you're all crazy, go to some other planet with your millions. Why you want to fuck this planet up? And that's where I come and I say to you, I'm not trying to fuck it, boy. I'm trying to save it. Yeah, it'll save me from it. We fucking burn the fuels here and we fuck the planet up. We use the resources incorrectly. It's fucked up, dude. The problem with being smart. That's a good video I should watch. Rick and Morty. The world hates smart people. Yeah, but that's why the world hates me. Everybody that meets me hates me. So what the fucking fuck? Why would you want to fucking move the planet back into that? I should put a sin for deviating from the fucking topic. Ding, ding, ding. Sinful fucking video. Why the fuck? Because essentially that you can move entire populations like that while evolving the population. So you can't move an entire population on the planet. You can't just take everybody on the planet, put it in a spaceship and move it. There's a lot of people, man. Fuel's heavy too, so you get the point. And it takes years to reach anywhere in the universe. Decades, millions, thousands of years. So what better way of achieving so than using your very own planet? Of course, maybe at a given point we can't or we won't be able to, but I say we can fairly just grab all the resources. Let's say that, for example, you are born into this civilization where the world works like that. The civilization works all together. The jobs are essential jobs. So some people work to feed yourself, some other people work to keep it running, some other people are the leaders and they lead it, but everybody works for the same cause, which is completely not gonna happen. And that is assuming, let's assume that in that world, my humanoid procedure is not available. Let's just assume that it's not available for now. Like the procedure of becoming a machine, becoming a machine, or taking your brain and putting it in a machine and being able to interact with the planet. Let's say that process is not available on this world, on that planet yet. I say because when that humanoid is introduced and is successfully achieved, the universe is gonna change. Wars are gonna change, technologies are gonna change, the way work is done is going to change. But for now, let's keep it out of the way. Let's say that we have built smart robots that can help us do the job, and now we are building the planet up so that we can take it out of orbit, have artificial atmosphere, artificial heating, so that we can sustain ourselves with the amount of resources the planet have. Of course, you should be heading into the course of another planet, or maybe another galaxy or another place where you know you can reach with the amount of resources that you already have, and where you know you will find resources. Okay, there's no fucking point on creating new technology, creating new spaceships to travel in space, because first off, the limitation is the human body. So you can only take like 29-30 G's before your fucking brain explodes. So why the fuck would you design a spaceship that can push 50-100 G's when your brain is gonna be blown at 30? That's why they don't put in money into that. Also, they're not putting money into that because it's pointless to throw money into new technology, into developing new spaceships, if you just want to get out there. That's why these big multi-billionaire companies, they're not spending their money on creating new spaceships. Companies kind of are, but that's not their main focus. Their main focus is to get out there, see what they can find, see if they can find new resources, see if they can use those resources, mine the planets, and see if they find under the surface, which we can pretty much not tell what's under the surface. You have to mine it. So you can't do that if you spend all your money on making a new machine. Now you just got a new machine, and when you get to the planet, you have no resources to do the mining and do the stuff for. No. So that's technically why. That's why these people, they're not throwing their money on those things. It will be within a frame of time where we're gonna actually see development there, and there's planned development. But like I said, it's all about profit. How you can profit from what you're doing, all right? Because everything costs money. Even breathing costs you money. The fact that you are alive costs money. You have to eat, you have to pay for gas, pay for rent, pay for light. And these rich billionaires, they have those expenses too, and they have bigger expenses. So that's why they're smart. They don't want to throw money into stuff like that yet. You don't think that, who the fuck is Boss? Ed Boss. If you can tell who Ed Boss is, or was, or their family do, then you're smart. Well, that family is just one of the families that run the oil companies, or ran oil companies. So they ran, and that family name owns oil, oil. Now, this guy goes and spends $30 million in a biosphere to make the planet think that he's helping with the fucking climate issues, when in reality he's not. He has billions, if not trillions, and he just said, let me just throw $30 million here, and I pay taxes for a couple of years, so give all this money to the government so that they don't have to give a fuck about how more I'm fucking up the planet. Because instead he could have thrown all those millions into developing better batteries, or developing what Tesla did, which is in some sort of way cleaner form of transportation, because it's not, how the fuck you still gotta charge those vehicles, okay? I would have said, no, that nigga was smart if he would have figured out to make away the car entirely of solar panels, and you nearly had to charge the car because it'll be charged up all the way by just sitting there. It would just be charging sitting there. That would have been a smart move, Tesla. But no, it wasn't. They didn't, because they don't give a fuck, man. They want you to stop. They want you to charge it. They're still using other resources to fucking do that, And in some sort of way, it's still polluting the planet. This guy, Boss, instead of throwing 30 millions in a fucking biosphere, that we all know the outcome of that. People are gonna go crazy because they want to get out and fucking live the world. The truth is that they just, wow, that's crazy. Instead of throwing the millions into the electric company, he just threw the millions into the biosphere just to cover himself. It doesn't fucking matter what you fucking do, man. It just matters with the intentions that you do it. believe it or not, people can't sleep a lot at night with the shit that they do. So by just believing that everybody has ethics, you're wrong. I wish everybody had ethics. Some people, they just don't give a fuck. They want to become richer so they can feed their families, and that's it. Richer, that's it. Reach their dreams. You know, they don't give a fuck about nobody else's dreams. In a world where money is more important than time, I can see why. And we are to blame. Everybody's to blame. You can't escape this reality. If you're a normal worker, you cannot escape that reality. The truth is that I might not be the only one that comes up with these crazy technologies, but I am definitely one of the many that can't do nothing about it. The conditions haven't paid off yet, so I need to build the conditions before I could reach anywhere, which I'm pretty certain I will. I just gotta work hard. Like I said, if you're not willing to put in the work without expecting anything back, then there's no way you could reach anything. Technically speaking, by just getting views on this, I can make money, and that is like passive income. I might use that passive income for who God knows, but definitely it's gonna be for something that I can gain out of, not for pleasurable things. Because the more you invest, the more you get back. Sometimes you have nothing to invest and you can make nothing. In order to make millions and play in an industry that, you know, works with millions, you have to have millions. Yeah, nobody's willing to give out money for free. I could just ask the billionaires for money. Look, let's ask Elon Musk. You think he's gonna donate $1 million to any cause of any of my possible causes? Nothing that he doesn't see fit on or interested on. You know, we could be even on the same page. If it's not profitable, they won't help. Neither Jeff Bezos, who's a multi-billionaire, that guy could probably donate money to everybody on the country and still have money. You think he's gonna donate $1 million to my cause? No, he won't. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, and I can name a lot of people that I could just reach out for it, and they will not be reached. So, you know, I won't reach to them because simply they don't want to be reached. You know, I understand. You know, if you're so busy working on what you want, why the fuck would you let anybody else disrupt your peace? Props to you guys. Keep it up. Mainly that's the reason why they're successful, because nothing can disrupt their mindset. You know, they're focused on executing their plans, and nothing can disrupt that. And it's hard to achieve that level, man. It's like asking what's wrong with this planet, man. Why can't they see how the world will change? Because I can see how the planet is changing, man. You might call it predictions, but it's just common fucking sense. It's common sense. The things that I'm talking about, they're common sense. And like I said, it's just because you don't know about them doesn't mean that they don't exist. You know, some things you simply can't afford, so you will never find out they exist.